Where were we? We're talking about wards. Yes, yes, yes. So what about like a ward in the river, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that like let's say you put in and let's say you had a ward like a real person and you put it in a river. Well, the ward is now harder to get at because you're in a river, if that makes any
Mm-hmm.
sense. But it's also harder to put in as well. So what if little stuff like that, like you put a ward in the river, it you have decreased movement speed or something because walking through water is a bit more difficult. But that's
That'd be
also the
cool.
case. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? That's just off the top of my head. Chandler, what do you think about that there?
I mean, so you're purely saying the environment is now going to affect you.
What if the map itself, because you were talking about the ward meta thing and how in certain spots maybe there be a buff or debuff
Yeah.
for your ward. Uh, what if that was one of them? The map itself is actually it's actually what am I trying to say? It is making the ward different in a sense. You know what I mean? What if buffs near the river can drink it from after 1 minute? They would glow, and if you take it, the buff lasts longer. What would they glow with? Did I
It's
understand that
definitely
right?
an interesting concept. I don't know.
Do you think
I'd
that's a
hate
bit
for just
much?
part of the environment automatically slowing you.
Yeah,
Because
that's
again, if
true.
we're talking about time being so important, like
Yeah.
movement speed debuffs, that's why they're so important and why a lot of supports have the ability to slow down the other characters. Because again, it's just giving you that time advantage, that movement speed
Mm-hmm.
advantage.
That's true.
So if by default, all of a sudden the environment is able to just slow you just like that,
Yeah.
I don't know, it would just be extremely frustrating to play against.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Uh,
And it just sounds like another reason to turn the game off rather than turn it on.
that's true. That's true. That's one of those like you're getting trolled by the map kind of things. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I can see what you're saying. Uh, Ichi, what do you mean by drink, Ichi? If you could elaborate on that. While you're doing that, I was just to kind of bring it back when you said ward meta earlier today when we were just discussing the topics. I remember my first initial thought was uh, just about how is it can a meta change with warding in a sense if that makes any sense or another way to look at it is if you can't win a game without a ward or vice versa. So is there a way for Strange Matter to make it so that if you're not warding, you're not doing what is the meta. You're not doing the optimal thing, which is understandable.
Yeah, but
Or
I kind of by default, I feel like that's the reality of it. Like, obviously, the teams that you have all five people warden correct
mm-hmm.
by default have an advantage to the people that aren't warden at all, even without any additional buff.
And how would you change a ward meta, or is that just something that has to happen within the community, or so that, or do you think the Jevs should have a hand in that?
Uh, would ward meta really just come down to map layout?
Pretty much, because like imagine
So it would
if
just depend on how often they updated the map, which really, I mean, how often do you want the map being tweaked?
not very often they did that a lot in Paragon, and
And then
look
that's
where it
kind of
is
what I
now.
mean. That's why the meta, not only in Paragon was the meta constantly changing because of its characters every 3 weeks, but you had both characters and the map getting tweaked constantly.
Yeah,
And that's really what had the meta constantly just in a cycle.
yeah, yeah. But like I understand this. So like big changes shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? All the time. But like, uh, how do I put this? But if a little small change, like there's now a wall here for this week, but there isn't a wall there next week. You know what I mean? Like that's something people, even if you only played once a week, you would be able to adapt to that. You know what I mean? And we got when the EA comes out, will they Will they be the same heroes that we know to this day in the packages, or will they add some others?
I think I was looking in the Discord, and I think they said just depending on when it comes out, there's a chance that there might be a character added to the list. But
Oh,
it really just sounds like more than likely, like if it just takes that much longer, because that's what people are wondering about with like the timeline and everything. Like, will the game come out and we still have to wait a month or two for Sparrow?
yeah.
But it sounded like to me because of it, like if it actually goes that full 2 more months before the game comes out, it sounds like there's a chance they may just have Sparrow come out with the base game.
Oh, okay. Jonah, I think from my understanding, and Chandler's gave us new information, is the characters in the Fault Steam packages that they currently have done up are like, uh, it's almost set in stone. There is still subject to change, but that's what we can expect to be on EA release, with the exception
Yeah.
of maybe Sparrow. But now that they did this delay, we might be able to get her day one.
Yeah, because we already knew that she was going to be the first character added to the game, but
Yeah,
this really, with the delay, like it would make to me, it would make most sense just for fan service, just making her be part of the lineup
yeah.
right at EA. We won't know until it's, let's say, 2 weeks before the actual EA's coming out, but as of right now, just from what I've heard through the Discord, it seems like they may lean towards that. Again, no confirmation on it.
Yeah, yeah. And I just wanted to say, Ichi's already been pushed back. It won't be pushed back again. I don't think. I got full
Yeah, I think
confidence in
I'm
him.
just mainly talking about just the timeline, like
Oh,
you know how they
everything is
had with
getting
like
pushed back. 100%.
yeah with the whole season 0 and whatnot, and like the
Yeah,
characters coming out.
yeah. Unless
We should probably
they get more devs, so they can get more done, it's definitely getting pushed back. But
and
that
that'll
is a
be the
very
other biggest thing.
possibility.
Like the first couple weeks of EA being out, let's say it does have a massive amount of people supporting it, and they do have the funds to kind of push out content earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the other big deciding factor, and that's the main
Right.
reason they're pushing back the launch of EA's because they want the best possible game to come out. Because again, they want the support so they can make sure
Guys, and I just
the
wanted to
game is
say this.
successful.
I felt that there was sort of an unfair amount of hate towards this delay. Like, don't get me wrong, I was upset. I'm still a little bit upset, but it's something that happens with games, and like this year in particular, because of this virus, it's like a major thing. It happens with almost every game. Delays are
Oh, yeah.
never a bad thing. They're, you know what I mean?
I mean, just look at the multi-million-dollar movies that are getting pushed back.
That's what I'm saying. The
So if
Last
you
of
think
Us is
these
on its
companies that
second
have
delay.
millions of dollars in them and their projects are getting pushed back, like it's completely understandable that this super small team that doesn't have a massive amount, I mean, they do have a considerable amount of like funds behind them,
Yeah.
but it's not like they have a multi-million-dollar situation where they can push it out no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to say that just really fast. I think people were just a bit unfair with their way that Fault was delayed. The delay is there so that they can make a better game. Anyone that says, "Look, they're trying to become Core 2.0 and they're just gonna disappear," they're not. They're clearly still active in the Discord. There's nothing that says they're not going to put out the game now just because they did a delay. Some people will argue, well, it was 2 weeks before, exactly 14 days before the EA came out. Why couldn't they tell us sooner? Well, obviously they would have if they could have. You know what I mean? Like, but it might have only been that 14 days before it happened. It was then that they realized, damn, we're not going to be able to do this in time, no matter how much we work, kind of thing. You know what
Yeah,
I
and it'd
mean?
be different if it was 3 days before. Like if right now we were still under the impression that the game was coming out on the 8th, and
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow they decided to tell us, oh yeah, by the way,
Oh,
that's not
well,
going to
okay,
happen.
that's different. That's that.
I
Yeah,
think 2 weeks is reasonable because you got to think about what can I feasibly do in 2 weeks
yeah,
and like guarantee it. So
Yeah.
at that point
And
you kind of have
you
to.
have to
I'm
also think
sure.
about it from a dev point of view. Like some people, some of these developers have like, uh, they've invested so much money and time into this game that the last thing that needs to happen is the game. If they can't rush the game and release a shit version, like that can't happen, or this game becomes, it just becomes a dream, not a reality. You know what I mean? They need to release a good game. In uh, in my opinion. And for the people that have invested the time and money into this, it is so important. They really need those 2 months if that's what it's going to be to make sure that they have a better game that everyone is going to enjoy from the top of the competitive level to brand new MOBA players that have never played a MOBA before, right? And that's what I got from this. That's what I got from this delay. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because I had someone, uh, I just had someone that they were a bit concerned, I guess, with the delay, uh, and they kind of reached out to me and said that they probably should have reached out to a mod or dev, but you know they reached out to me, and that's why I said like I don't think there's anything wrong with the delay. I think all you can expect is that they are you can only expect goodness from this delay. It's frustrating. Everyone wants stuff now. Like, I ordered a webcam March 16th. I'm going to keep saying it. March 16th. It hasn't shipped yet, guys. Yet I ordered something yesterday and it's already shipped. Explain that to me, Amazon.
They don't give a fuck.
Explain that to me.
Do you see that message there in the chat?
Perfect. And I thank the Fault team for continuing to report on the game. Where do I pay for early access? Haha. That was a weird. I need it on my computer right now. How can I get access to the test weekend? Jonah, just to answer your question, it's currently on Steam, but you can't pre-order it or anything like that. They talked about doing pre-orders before the delay. I'm not sure how it's going to be there now, but you can definitely add it to your Steam wish list. And if you want to see the packages, you can just go into the Strange Matter Discord and ask a mod to direct you, or just go check out the announcements page there, and they should be able to help you out. Oh yeah, Johnny, you need a computer. This is okay. This is like my 4th month having a computer now, and it's awesome. I literally heard about the Fault. I heard about Fault and was like, time to get a computer. That's it. Been a console gamer for 10 years. Don't matter. I'm a computer player now.
Yeah, and just to talk about the test weekend, so again, this is another thing that's come up in the Discord multiple times, and there's zero confirmation yet about anything at all, but they've toyed around with the idea of, instead of putting out keys, making it an open alpha whenever they do the next weekend, and then they've also had talks of making it not only just a weekend, but a full week.
Hang on. I might be able to tell you. I actually took notes on this.
Like, yeah,
real notes.
Just from what I've heard so far, they're leaning towards open alpha.
Yeah, I took quotes on this, so I can tell you. In the general chat, someone asked about a 4th alpha weekend. So Strange Matter have said that if they can do it, they can't confirm it. If they can, they are going to have a 4th alpha weekend, kind of as an apology for the delay. And this was said in the Gen Chat days ago, and it's right from one of the founders himself. He said, because someone asked about keys, because they've been doing 10,000 keys, the founder replied, how about infinite keys? So guys, tell all your friends, if there is if there is a 4th alpha weekend, we don't want to put too much stress on Strange Matter and say you have to have one, because, you know, if it's going to delay the game, don't do it. Oh wait, I don't need a weekend. Truly. But if there is going to be a 4th weekend, tell all your friends. You don't need no key. They ain't disappearing in 7 hours like an Alpha 3. Everyone will be able to play.
I'll get to play this time. Hell yeah.
Steve. Yes. And what are you saying? Probably just stress test the servers. Nothing but good things can come out of it. Ichi, you're right.
Who was saying that?
Apparently, Ichi, Apparently in Alpha 3, they didn't reach even 10% of their server capacity.
Ooh, hell yeah.
But with infinite keys,
They might be able to figure out a little more.
Might, yeah.
Because the number one turnoff to a brand new game that dropped on early access is if every time you get into it, it crashes. I mean, look at Anthem.
Well, it happens every
They
year.
had
Call of
months straight.
Every year, Call of Duty. The first day, the servers crash. Are you kidding me? I couldn't download Warzone for 2 weeks because there's so many people that downloaded it when it went free. Like, that actually happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if they have enough hype behind it and more people can get into it, because obviously it's going to be their servers. It's not like the sketchiness going over at Overprime where you're just hosting your own basically little lobby. Like the fact that since there is going to be, let's say, potentially tens of thousands of people on the game,
yeah,
you want that to be when it's completely free before you're trying to ask for any money from someone.
For Alpha 4, if they give 20,000, let's say they give infinite keys out, I think they can see 20,000 people sign up for.
I'd say at this point,
20,000 easy. In fact, I think that actually might be lowballing it. Like, doesn't mean they're going to have 20,000 concurrent players. It just means they're going to have 20,000 people download the game. I think, which I think would be pretty awesome. Yeah. Oh, now you got me all excited about a 4th Alpha weekend. Oh boy. What would you guys love? What would you guys like to see in the 4th Alpha? Like what would make it good for you? Like so. What am I trying?
I guess that's the thing. So since we already know the current map they have out was a placeholder, do you think on a 4th Alpha weekend they would put the updated map in, or would they continue to have that test map?
I think it's gonna be the new map.
Oh, I think so too, and I think that'd be the most exciting thing about a 4th Alpha weekend is to be able to play that new revised map and to be able to make sure, like, just with the community and having more people playing it, if they are going to update it, being able to have that kind of feedback before the full EA comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because it sounds like they're going to do something kind of radically different.
Having Raptors and Fangtooth, maybe it's a movement speed, but the map looks larger. I'm sure they could fit it in. They do have Raptors in the map. And they talked about big Raptors. So they talked about doing Elder Raptors. Okay, they didn't say Elder Raptors. They said big Raptors. Which means I might just bring back Fangtooth and eliminate the 3 Raptors.
100% sounds like Fangtooth.
I really, really hope they don't do that. To be honest.
But I think, again, Fangtooth in the sense of not just Fangtooth, but kind of like what we were talking about before of just having them slowly upgrade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'd like to see. Like a raptor.
That'd be the coolest feature.
Evolve as he eats the grass in the raptor pit into a Fangtooth. That'd be kind of cool as time goes on.
Or if you just kill a certain amount of them.
Yeah.
Like if it's, again, 30 minutes into the game, I don't want a regular raptor. I want a bigger Fangtooth raptor that just gives more.
100%.
Because at a half an hour in, if you haven't hit full build, you need something like that to help just push you straight into it.
When it comes to 4th Alpha Weekend, by the way, I want Sparrow in the game.
I want Crunch in the game, bro.
Steve, he's not even on the drawing board yet.
No.
You need to calm down.
I refuse to accept that he'll never be in the game.
He'll be in the game when it's free to play.
Don't fucking lie to me.
Actually, they did do that poll, though. They did do that poll of what people's favorite character was. So,
this guy Ichi trying to catch hand, bro.
Crunch is good.
Listen,
yo,
we don't speak bad about our god here. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, he's joking.
I'm gonna be
All
honest
right,
with you.
here.
Me and Chandler here only has.
I give you some hearts. Bam. There you go. That's for you,
Crunch.
Ichi.
He don't care about no one else. Me and Steve,
There you go.
me and Chandler don't give 2 flying fucks about that.
This is for you. This
honest.
is for you. Thanks for the. You had me going there for a sec.
Honestly,
Almost had to ban you for life.
You know what's crazy? Why are you scared of Crunch Jungle? I'd rather play a Narbash in the jungle.
You shut the fuck up. Are you stop? Y'all suck.
I was gonna say, Steve, Crunch Jungle is all you ever wanted to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crunch
And he
Jungle was that was my main, man. I rolled up with
Remember
that
when
crunch
you
with the
Seraph
punch.
mained?
Yo. Okay, so I mained a few characters, alright? I mained, and by main I mean I only played 5 different characters, right? I played Crunch, Seraph, Faye. That's 3.
I think that's it.
I think that's I think those are the only characters I've really played. I mean, I played Kwong, but like
No,
I
you
never
didn't.
really liked playing Kwong. Yeah, those were my 3 mains.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho, let's say a hypothetical Alpha 4. Let's say it happens. Let's say what would I love to see in the Alpha 4? The new map. The new UI. I want to see the UI. You can't be talking about it every day since I've been in the Discord and not show me. It can't be in the Trello page that it was created January 6th. I literally remember the date without looking at it because it got me a little bit salty. You can't talk about the UI and not have the UI in Alpha 4. Well, you can, but please don't. I want to see it. I want there to be an exit game button, and I don't want to have to hit Alt F4. High School Project looking UI. No, apparently it's pretty good. It's apparently pretty good.
Right. He's talking about the current one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the current one. Yeah, the current one,
But that's the same as the map, just placeholder right now.
It's just a placeholder. That's all it is. It's the same thing even with the Paragon Alpha way back. If anyone was a closed alpha tester for Paragon, it actually probably looked worse, to be honest. That's just something that it gets updated over time, right? It's not high on the priority list, but I want to see it. Because one big thing for me is like when you get to that start screen and you hear some kind of punk music, and like a cool UI, and like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready to play right now. Before I even get into the game, we're already hyped, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, boy.
So I'd love to see that. So map, Sparrow, UI. Steven Chandler, is there anything else you guys would love to see in the game? I got a 4th one. Hang on, but I'll let you guys go first.
Nah, I got nothing.
Audio cues. I want to see audio cues. I want to know when I'm hitting someone.
Yeah, having that fleshed out. But again, that's just
Game looks in between alpha and the update Paragon visuals. I think the last visual update on Power Monolith a little bit right before Bellica's overview came. Yeah, I mean the game doesn't look bad right now. But if you compare it to what Paragon looked like in the Monolith days, I mean, you can tell that it's in alpha, right?
Yeah. But it looks better
It's
than
not
Paragon's
bad,
alpha.
but it looks... Yeah, it looks better than Paragon's alpha, but...
Doesn't look better than their beta.
Epic also had to make all the assets, right? I mean...
Yeah. 100%.
SMS are just getting them.
True, yeah.
It's all just about application. And, I mean, Paragon fans are always gonna, like... We're gonna love it, whatever it is, right? Like, we'd play, like... I'd pay for this, you know what I mean? Like... Because, like, I just want to play the game. But...
And I think that's the reason you see so many people playing Overprime, because the community that was left when Paragon ended, they haven't been able to fill that void with any other game.
Yeah, we just wanted to play Paragon, and Epic were like, no, we know what you really want. And we're like, no, we just want to play the fucking game.
You know what's crazy? If Mike is here, or if anyone can let him know, when he said I sound like Cam Winston last week, I thought about that every day. because I never want to sound like Cam Winston.
I didn't think you sounded like him that much.
Listen, you know, it's because they're a part of the PC Master Race and they don't understand how important aim assist is for a controller player. But that's
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like that's more like Cam Winston, in my opinion, not being open-minded to
Yeah.
things.
I think so. Funny enough about just aim assist, in one of the latest Fortnite updates, they just dialed back aim assist.
yeah, because Ninja complained about it every day.
Well, I mean, a lot of people were complaining about it, but that was only with the introduction of the new meta of the pro players all just kind of switched over to controller at the same time.
Wait, did they really?
Well, because again, aim assist.
Yeah.
Nobody like it's always been that, hey, the better way to play the game is with keyboard and mouse. So nobody ever really had the time of day for a controller. But once you start, like if you already know the game mechanics and you can figure out, let's say, your builds and whatnot with controller, that's when it started just breaking shit. So it's definitely like, I kind of understand where like Mike was coming from with like, well, you got to look at the bigger picture, like, because we can see other games clearly having an issue with aim assist. But I think the biggest thing that we were just trying to say is like having it implemented, not having like a super hard aim assist, but like
You can always tone down aim assist, right?
and that's the biggest thing. It's in the name itself. It's an aim assist. It's not a lock on.
Yeah.
And that was definitely the only problem I saw.
So I guess we for the last 30 minutes we'll just go on to our story is what I'm calling it there. So essentially what I meant by our story is for everyone that's watching and listening in, and for me, Steven Chandler, we would love to hear your guys' story about how you discovered Paragon and discovered the para zombies that followed after it, what it meant to you, so on and so forth. And we just kind of wanted to have a little bit of a kind of a chill session a little bit because we always do these topics. We kind of went a bit off track this week so far. It's kind of been places, but this is just like we're sitting at a campfire kind of thing, cry about Paragon kind of thing. So should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
So our story of Paragon. So how Paragon started is Steve here, S.A. Reed, is actually the one that introduced it to me. So Steve and Chandler always try to like bring up new games to me because like I only played Call of Duty at the time, and so I was like, okay, show and they showed me a game like Remnant from the Ashes, which is not good, by the way. Even though there's new DLC out for it, I don't know if you guys know that. Anywho, but then they showed me Paragon. So Steve was like, look, it's free to play. Give it a shot. So I gave it a shot. It was on Legacy. I played as Greystone. I said the game was fucking shit. Didn't even finish the game, I don't think. And never played the game again. Until like 3 months later. Steve was like, look, Greg, they got rid of Legacy. They're on the Monolith now. Try the game out. I tried it. I don't know who I played as. But
I feel like you played Murdoch.
yeah, some tells me I played a lot of Murdoch at the beginning. And
Yeah, the thing is because he was the Call of Duty looking motherfucker.
yeah, and he and I played the game, and I just fell in love. Like I don't know how else to put it. I just fell in love. Started playing every hero. Fell in love with supporting. I really, really like supporting, to be honest. And I ended up playing it. I ended up stopped playing Call of Duty entirely. I was fresh into university, and yeah, I just played it. And then I ended up playing Decker, and I played a lot of Decker. I honestly had 150 days played on Paragon. Like I'm not joking. Like when I say I've never played a game so much in my entire life, I mean it. Like that was the game for me. And Yeah. I even stopped talking to all my friends besides Steve. Like, I have all these online friends I would hang out with every day. I just stopped playing with them. And then eventually they were like, okay, we'll try Paragon out. And then I ended up getting a few of my Call of Duty friends to play Paragon, and they fell in love with the game too. And to this day, two of them will say it's the best game they ever played, ever.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that is my story. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I started playing Paragon, that was what? Oh, it was the end of 2016. Because Overwatch had come out and Battleborn had come out, and then I was hearing about this thing called Paragon, and it was the three big, hero action shooter MOBA esque team games from like the big three, right? That I really cared about: Gearbox, Epic, and Blizzard. Got Battleborn, shit sucked. Got Overwatch, that shit was fun. Played a lot of Overwatch, and then I was like, what about that third one? Whatever happened with that? And so I looked it up, and it was called Paragon, and I was like, oh, geez. Um, and, I looked into it, and it's like, okay, well, how much is it? It's like, oh, it's free. What the fuck? So I downloaded it, and I started playing it, and I was instantly, like, super captivated by, the fact that it just felt like an action game, but it played like a MOBA. The map was huge. There was so much verticality and scale to it. It went up, it went down. The fighting was really interesting, and it was this game that no one knew that, existed. And it looked like I needed to like play it because I couldn't believe that it was free. I tried to get everyone into it. It was kind of slow to the roll. Greg got into it, and it just kind of took off from there. And I mean, Crunch was the last character to come out, and I never really played him that much until Monolith, um, and I just completely fell in love with him. And then Seraph came out, and I fell in love with her. Um, and yeah, played it. And then when they announced that they were closing it, I was just like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? It was like we put up with so much shit and so many bad changes and bad calls just for them to be like, yeah, this isn't a sustainable game, so we're out. It's like, you motherfuckers.
Oh,
Um,
Ichi,
so,
that's actually a really cool way. Did you see his way? So
Yeah, that's actually
he just went looking essentially for small games because that's what he just likes to do. He did that, watch a game for a week, and ended up getting a key to play the game when it was
hell yeah,
closed beta and cost money.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Ichi, don't worry. Version 42 came out, and my game time went down. I played maybe once a week
They
after that.
killed the game themselves. Like,
I was gonna say after version 42, didn't we have to? That was when me and Steve went over to Newfoundland to see you, and that's when we had to force you to play the game with.
Dude, I fucking hated it.
And
I was so upset with the game.
I think the first thing that we tried to show you was the updated Iggy.
Wow. They're actually coming out with a sequel to Hollow Knight, apparently, Ichi. I don't know if you saw that. Uh, yeah, I remember it's apparently in development, which is kind of cool. So, Chandler, how did you get into Fault? Or
So again, it'd be
Paragon?
the same just through Steve, and so I had SA Read. So a lot of the games that I've gotten into,
Thank you,
especially
Balix.
earlier in life, whatever it's called, I ended up finding out about them just by sitting around and seeing Steve play them. And I think the biggest thing that got me into it was just the visuals. Just like I could not, again, kind of like what Steve said, I could not believe a free game looked this good. Mind you, this is sort of around the same time. Like I kind of played Warframe a little bit on PS4,
Mm-hmm.
so it made sense to me that there were these free games that could look this good. But it was like, I don't know, just the concept. And obviously, I've always, and I mentioned this quite a bit, but I was always an extremely casual player when it came to all this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I spent most of my
Guys,
time in bot matches, but it was just
I
playing the game, just
have
how it felt,
never.
just how smooth it was, how good it looked. It was
I've
all these things that just made it like, even though I have like a stack of 25 PS4 games I could play, I was actively choosing to play this like Paragon majority of the time.
I have never seen a person play so many bot matches in my entire life until
Well,
Chandler
that was the
started
biggest
playing it.
thing. So, like, on top of everything, my laptop wasn't really that powerful. So, I just found playing like online matches, it ended up like I was more of a hindrance than anything. So, even just being able to play it on the go on my laptop, but just purely bot matches just to get used to the game and just learning the mechanics. I mean, this was also around the same time Steven was really into both. It was Mortal Kombat and what was the other one? I think it was one of those early Persona fighting games where like just the concept of combos with controller was way over my head and I could never understand it. But with it being so much slower with a controller on Paragon, it was the mindset that like I just felt like I was every day getting a little bit better, just knowing what I had to do in each situation. So I just found it was an extremely rewarding game to play, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. It was. It's and for me too, it was like the first MOBA I ever played ever. So I was like super newbie at the game. I was a PS4 player. I didn't have a PS4 Pro, and it was just it like it is the reason why I tried out League of Legends after that. I didn't play a lot of League, to be honest.
No.
I should be fair. Like MOBAs, I played MOBAs. Paragon's more so the only MOBA I played. But yeah, and it was just awesome. It really was the MOBA for me, and it's taken my heart. And I remember, and the reason I found out about Fault actually, so I should probably say this. I don't think I've ever told anyone how I heard about Fault, to be honest. So I remember Paragon died, and I think I was talking with Steve about it, or definitely Crept on, one of the two, or maybe both of you, and I talked about the game, and then I went back and watched a video, one of the PCL matches. It was Reborn versus Oxygen, and I watched that, and then I just out of nowhere I said, okay, they did release the assets. I'll look up games. So I just typed in whatever. I just typed in like Paragon Remake or something like that, and I found out about Fault. And this was in December, so I found out about Fault back in December. And I remember it was then I was like, I remember getting on the mic and being like, oh no, because I heard about Phoenix Rising, because I remember seeing something about Phoenix Rising, way before Fault was, and so I was like, okay, maybe there's other ones, and then I found Fault, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I freaked out, and I had to tell Steve, I had to tell Cody. Cody's not here with us right now, and I told Chandler, of course, too, and yeah, and then I got their Indiegogo, the huge whatever pack they got, and then we're here, and I did not get to play in the holiday weekend or the Alpha 2. In fact, I couldn't even tell you when Alpha 2 was. I don't remember it happening. I don't even know if holiday weekend is Alpha 2 or there was one before that. I couldn't tell you. And but I got to play Alpha 3, and it was then that I knew that Fault was going to make it, because it was just so good. It was everything I wanted. It had that Paragon feel, but it was clearly different than Paragon when you actually play the game, if that makes any sense. And I think that's where they're going to do that. Steve, what do you think? Do you think that this is just a pipe dream, for example? While you're doing that, I'm going to catch up on the chat because I'm a bit behind.
Do I think Fault is a pipe dream?
Do you
What?
think, like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did you think, when you first heard about Fault, did you think it was going to be another Phoenix Rising, which is dead now? Like, it doesn't exist.
Well, no. I always knew that someone would make it, right? And I always knew there were certain criteria that needed to be filled for me to actually really start believing it. Specifically, like an actual studio making it, not just some guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like there needed to be organization for it. I needed to see gameplay. I needed to, you know what I mean? And like when I started seeing all that
Steve's also
stuff,
like a super skeptical guy. Like I'm one of those people. Like I'm like, yep, let's do it. Day one, I'll be like, yeah, I'm
yeah,
there. Steve's not like that.
yeah, I'm a very like everything is too good to be true kind of guy.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have one person like that in your group. But if everyone is like getting down on everything, I feel like you just gotta. But long story, I'd like to think maybe sometimes like I have good ideas out of nowhere. Um, and so I really started, believing when I was seeing all these things that Fault was actually trying to do and achieve. And I think, I mean, I'm not 100% convinced that this will be 100% what I want it to be. But that's just because I haven't played it yet, and I'm sure like the second I do play it, there's a good chance that I'll be like, okay, yeah, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always knew that it would happen. Like with all those assets out there, I knew there was going to be someone to pick those up and say, okay, let's make the game that Epic couldn't.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's and then that was the big thing, like with Epic too, right? Is they released the assets, so it was then and there that we knew, like we've talked about it, we knew that just because it wasn't good enough for Epic doesn't mean it wasn't going to be good enough for someone else. Like someone out there was going to pick it up and make this game successful, probably even more successful than Paragon was. Like in reality, if this early access goes well, the launch of free to play goes well, and as long as this game keeps developing and staying fresh at a natural pace, I don't see there being any chance of this game not being bigger than Paragon was. And that Epic's a big name, so that's hard to beat. You know what I mean? Now we're not talking in a year; we're talking like 2 years down the road. I would love to see.
The biggest thing is just making it big enough on PC so that you can have that console release, because that's going to be what makes or breaks Fault at the end of the day, is if it ever makes it onto console. And at that point it's obviously going to be like PS5 and whatnot.
Yeah.
But again, in order to get that, they need a very successful PC release.
Yeah. And they're going to have it.
Yep.
Even when I was playing Overprime, like I was playing it, and there was even people in the chat. They were saying, "I'm only playing Overprime because it's the only Paragon thing I can play right now." Like, in all reality, I'm just waiting for Fault. Like, they got the support. They're there. It's gonna go, and it seems like Strange Matter's doing almost everything right to get to that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the exciting thing, just seeing them have such a strong base, seeing it being built up the proper way rather than just throwing out whatever for the best.
Mm-hmm. I've made a lot of dumb choices, not with just heroes, just wasting resources. They didn't need to make characters' faces, change the card system, make a whole new map when they could have shrunk Legacy, proved that they could by the map changes in Monolith Jungle. These holiday themes mapped. I think I butchered what you said when I said it, but I understand what you're saying. Epic made a lot of, and this is essentially what Epic did. Oh, this isn't working the way we want it to, so let's just scrap it and make something new. What? That's not like the community was like, that's not what we're saying. Epic, come on now, come on, Cameron, listen.
Yeah, like they left us saying, "Hey, that was not very epic." You know what I mean?
I was
It's
dying
not.
a little bit on the
I didn't
inside.
know this was Mid Game Studios. I thought it was Epic
Yeah.
Game Studio.
Like, but also on top of that, they also have Fortnite, and that's the most successful game ever. So clearly, they did something right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what do you mean successful?
Money.
You mean
They made the
money
most fucking
successful
money.
or like heart successful?
I mean, you also got to think about it.
On that
Fortnite
note,
is
I'm
what
not.
kind of pushed all these battle royales. It's the reason why the newest Call of Duty has a battle royale.
Yeah.
So I mean, just in its own genre, you can't argue the fact that Fortnite wasn't successful.
Yeah, but they're profiting off of children.
Yes,
Manipulating the weak-minded.
that's called
That's
YouTube.
not-
Have you ever heard that?
That's
The
not
biggest
very
YouTubers that make the most money,
cash
it's off
money.
of kids.
Itchy, they did do that.
That's not very cash money of them. You know what I mean? Because anyone can manipulate a child.
Yeah.
It's easy. Okay? You just say, hey, check out these V-Bucks.
Oh my goodness.
And the kids are like, oh, fuck! Give me that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's fucked up. You know what I mean? I don't trust anyone under the age of 18 with money. Okay? Even at that age, okay? I feel like you shouldn't be allowed to spend money until you're 25
Steve,
Jesus
you're
Christ!
not 25.
No,
because
None of us
I
are
know
25.
I'm not even saying I spend money well. I'm just saying no one under the age of 25
All right.
properly spends their money. Okay?
yeah, but that's just a symptom of just not learning those basic
Capitalistic
skills.
communication. Bro.
Capitalism, more like
God.
capitalism.
Oh God!
Okay, we're just gonna leave it there because Steve will go.
Abort!
Like,
Abort!
This is a different.
Capitalism.
Steve will go crazy, or we don't need to hear this. And he will. If you ever want to sit down and talk about capitalism for 6 hours, S.A. Reed is your man.
Your guy. I'm your guy.
You should launch one of those the Twitch channels that's just chat and just debate with people for hours.
Debate with random scrubs on the internet. No. This is why it's bad. And people are like literally like
Is that what it means to be a
old men in the chat. And I'm like,
though?
no.
I just
I'm gonna let you guys finish up the last 10 minutes. I'm gonna go use the bathroom.
What do you mean
Okay.
last 10? We have an hour.
No, the last 10 minutes of Act 2, bitch.
yeah, I see what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our story of Paragon is we played a lot. So I didn't play much with Chandler actually. We would try
No.
here and there. But
Well, because you
Chandler-
and Steven were always playing more of the like serious games.
Oh, 100%. Me and Steve took every game serious, always. Well, now, we didn't dodge. We weren't dodgers.
No.
But we found Agora.gg, and that was it for us. We were there. We were there, and we were playing. And I remember playing, and I remember starting, and I was so bad. I couldn't hit my shots. I didn't even know how these abilities works. What's rotating? What's CS? Like, I didn't understand any of this.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of videos. I watched a lot of Mongoose back in the day. And then I started watching on Twitch. So then I started watching a lot of Suki. And then I started watching a lot of Phasma once he started getting a bit bigger on Twitch. And yeah, so then I started playing. And then I ended up making it somewhere in Platinum. And Platinum, like, I'm going to put this way. I had more fun playing at the Gold Elo than I ever did at the Platinum or Diamond Elo. And the reason for that is, number one, the second you would hit Platinum, the queue times would triple. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, the second you hit Diamond, the queue times would go up like 6 times. And that's when you get all these dodgers. People are worried about team comps. And, like, yes, there was a internal matchmaking system in Paragon, but it also was just casual. Like, they never had a ranked mode. They probably should
I think the other problem was, and why so many people dodged in a competitive stance, is that
the game was never balanced to a point where realistically you could have a half an hour game. Like, think about Paragon. Like, how often were you stuck in these higher tier games playing for a minimum hour in one match?
Yeah. Oh, it was happened. I used to play one game an hour at most. Once,
Yeah,
like,
easy.
and we're talking low plat, like, and like it's not. I never made it to master, and master people were waiting 3 hours at some moments in the game. You know what I mean? Like 3 hours, really, for a casual game.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't casual in all reality, but. Will the game have support for ultra wide monitors? Jonah, I would say it would, but I wouldn't be able to tell you that question right off the top of my head. But give me 5 seconds and I'll ask the question. I'm going into Strange Matter Discord now.
I would imagine, like, just with like today's games, they'd want it to that same standard. I guess you have no way of knowing until you hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. 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 No, Ichi, like, it's good, right? So the problem is that it was in Paragon. To be honest, what I think the problem was with the matchmaking was our matchmaking system was flawed. 50% of people were in silver. You know what I mean? So over half of the Paragon community was in silver. So finding game in gold and silver, easy. But then once you get the plat, we're now talking only 20% of the population. And then once you get the diamond, we're talking 2% of the population. And then when you're getting to master, we're talking 100 people. That's it. You know what I mean? So, like, obviously that kind of makes sense. But where the problem was, in my opinion, is that in silver there was too big of a population. So to where, you know how in they needed to do something differently. You know what I mean? And there needed to be a different, like, what games have done since then is League of Legends now has an iron division. No one was really a bronze player in Paragon. You know what I mean? Being a bronze player, you had to lose a lot. You know what I mean?
It had to be me.
So you just they needed to make it so that people would actually go into the category that they were. Because, like, maybe 50% of the population was silver. But that means within silver, they needed to have silver 1, silver 2, silver 3. You know, all this stuff to really better match people. But they didn't have that because it was casual. Like, even if they had internal matchmaking, they didn't have that. Like, I'm talking a ranked play. That's what they do. You know what I mean? But they never introduced a ranked play. It was just really unfortunate that the higher up you got, the less you would play. Which, it's usually vice versa, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, how can I get out of silver? You just had to play good. That's it. Just had to play good. There's no other way to put it. Like, you know, like if you're solo queue,
Have at least a 2 or 3 stack.
yeah.
That was the other difficult thing. The only way to be competitive was to have at least a 3 stack.
Oh gosh. Not always.
Like, solo queue just was painful.
Yeah, and that's what League of Legends has actually attacked that issue very hard. Because even in casual, they have a solo/duo queue mode and then a team mode.
But they also have the player base to be able to have that many queues.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. And
that's going to be the toughest challenge just here at the beginning if you only have, let's say, 10,000 concurrent players per week.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Smite. Like, with their matchmaking is probably going to be pretty close to the matchmaking fault at launch.
As long as I have the player base, all these ideas are probably going to happen. But they can't restrict people. That's the one thing internal matchmaking does, is it racks up queue times, and it makes some people feel like they're always playing a competitive match even when they're playing casual.
Well, that's a huge symptom right now in Valorant. Queue times.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his face? Shroud hitting the top rank and then waiting 45 minutes to get into a game.
Yeah.
Like, that shouldn't be a thing.
Maybe if they had an extra rank like coal, copper, bronze, silver. Oh, 100%.
No.
But the thing is, Ichi, is how do I word this? If people are quote unquote losing and winning, they shouldn't all be in silver. You know what I mean? Like they just shouldn't be. Like some should
Yeah.
move up to gold, some should move down to bronze. You know, like it shouldn't be that they win, lose, and they just get stay in silver. No. They should, keep going up and up and up and up.
Well, that ends up being the problem. You win one game, then you lose your next game, but then you win the next game, but then you lose your next.
Yeah, but usually if you lose more than you win, unless you're a new player, brand new.
Yeah.
So, and that's wise, so that they can like make a difference. They can show a difference.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Anywho, we're 3 minutes away. Do you just want to make that break start there now? We kind of, spitball the last little bit. We're just taking
that's good.
a 10-minute, I suppose.
Hey, what? We're taking a break?
Yeah, 10-minute break. I put a 10-minute break in there.
Are we able to just make it a 5-minute break?
We can make it 5-minute. Let's make it
Yeah.
5.
I don't think we need a massive break anyways. Just enough to stretch. Because we're already at technically 2 hours. Because we had the first 15 was whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just the stream starting soon. So we still have 1 more hour to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Alright guys, we're just going to take a quick break. We've been talking for 2 hours and it's a lot to do. I want to show you guys a really cool intro I made for this. I want to see what your guys' opinion is about it. So that's what I'm going to do.